before we start, I did want to go over a couple things. Something that I didn't do originally in our first meeting was I went over it. You have a bunch of handouts, and you look for the last one. The last handout you'll see is from the city code. And the first part is not pertaining to this, it was just on the same page. But on page, oh, there we go. Page 175, 14.1.6 starts the Airport Advisory Commission and what is under the Airport Advisory Commission. So I wanted to share that. And I went over this in detail myself, and with receiving some of the discussions for tonight, I went ahead and talked with our city engineer, and they are, in the new business, they are miscounted, so I apologize for that. But for the second one down, if you look at new business real quick before we get into the actual meeting, the second one, the third one, which says number 2, and then number 5 are items we won't be able to discuss. That is outside the purview of this commission. However, you can discuss, if you can discuss taking this if you want to, if the commission decides to, together, to ask permission from city council to extend this to you, to be able to talk about this.
Both the 2 and the 5?
So the second, number 1, 2, and 5. And this, and throughout where it talks about in the city code about concerning what the commission has the ability to do, it does not discuss, it does not say anything about being able to discuss through the fence agreements. So that is something that, and I talked with our city attorney about this. I didn't remove it from the agenda so that we could discuss it and you guys could have the opportunity to decide what you wanted to do. So,
what aspects are off limits? Saying discuss them with property owners?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, but we can discuss the topic of, through the fence agreements, the need to have them in place, that they're not, that kind of thing.
We can discuss, but we can't discuss anything about where it pertains to whether, the commission wants to try and, you can discuss taking things to council on this to request permission, but we can't actually discuss it thoroughly in this commission.
We could discuss taking it to council.
For permission to be able to do that. Because right now, you don't have the ability to do that. It's not within the purview.
Where is that written down?
So, if you go to page 176 and go to, letter C, it says the Airport Advisory Commission shall report to the city council, well, that's part of it, as necessary but not less than once a year. I don't know if you guys knew that. And,
Our liaison from the council hasn't been here.
correct. But this is a commission, it's not a committee. It's a committee, but it's a commission. So the commissions have the ability to go straight to city council and take a council action, or an agenda item to the council meetings, if the commission so pleases.
Okay. So we don't have that power, is what you're saying? We have to ask permission from the council to
Correct.
be on their agenda?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you, if you go to letter B, that, it talks about, exactly everything that can be spoken about and is under the commission. So I don't know if you wanna take the time to go through that now or later, but, cause I even was asking, I even talked with the, city attorney to look at ways to make it to where it could be, but it's not.
So what I'm hearing is that we can take a larger subject matter that might have that underneath it. So we could talk about, the lack of getting the funding from the FAA, because that would be under that heading, right?
Yeah, we can't specifically talk about, identifying a FAA point of contact, like the second number one says, we can't talk about, having a working group, that's nothing we can talk about here unless, the commission decides to talk with council.
Okay, fair enough, sounds good.
And I do apologize, that's something I should have brought up and seen, in the first meeting, and I did not.
Good to know, but I see a way around it in going to the city council.
Yes, if they give you permission, absolutely.
All right,
Okay, so other than that, that's all I have.
that's your report?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, approval of action agenda. So we want to approve the minutes of regular session of the Airport Advisory Commission held on February 12th, 2024. Okay,
This is a point where everyone has to say they agree.
Correct.
I agree. And so the new business here that we see is actually just a copy. It's a copy and paste from the last one, last agenda.
Yes, and any, notes that I've put in, yes.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of it, we kind of skipped on because we didn't have answers because we were talking about through the fence and stuff.
Right.
So all we need with this is a motion to approve, a second, and then, all approve, say aye, and that's what we would do, so, that's what.
All right, I'll approve.
You need a motion?
Have a motion to approve the,
Second it.
okay.
So, Mark,
I approve, yeah.
And Sherry, okay. And then all approved?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I guess we can get on to, so that's approved.
Yep.
All right, old business. We have several items here, and I'm gonna list them. We have the windsock missing, because I think that's been addressed, hasn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
That's cool. Hey, we got something done. We have the lightning suppression. I don't think that's done. Is that done?
I
Okay.
know.
That was
It's,
last
Yeah.
meeting's agenda.
it's just maintaining an existing lightning suppression system, I think with some conductive fluid that gets poured into the ground. I've never done it, but I think it's fairly straightforward.
there's also a gap device that, it's a hair arc, and that goes on whatever that's tall right by the,
Does that need to be annotated anywhere that it's been done?
is it what?
Need to be annotated that it's been done?
Oh, it hasn't been done.
The first one had been done. Okay, I think we parked that. We have the beacon needs fixing. I don't think that's done.
Beacon, before Robin left, he had said he had worked on that.
Has anyone seen it working?
No, it's not.
It's
No.
not, okay, that's good to know.
The other thing that isn't on here is the wind tee out in the middle of the field, the light and the windsock on that are back together.
Yeah, those are all working.
Okay, oh, that's good. All right, so we have discussion on Bisbee Municipal Airport sign that needs to be replaced. We have an Apache sign quoted for $325 for a metal surface design. Who went out? Was that the city went out to get a bid on that sign?
I did.
I'm guessing
I
that
saw
should
it,
be done.
and I meant to send a picture.
Is that the one on the building?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know exactly which one, because there is there's a sign out front, so I was,
No, it's the one that's on the building
On
where
the building
I would
itself.
see it. I mean, it's
Okay.
faded to the point that you really can't read it anymore.
Wouldn't the city supply those from the budget that you have for that
Yes.
signage?
yeah, we can.
Okay,
But I just did the legwork to
Put
say
a-
it needs to be done.
yeah, put
Yeah.
a back bookend on what it could potentially cost.
Apache sign. And then, is that the same size that it is?
Absolutely, 4 by
Okay.
4, yeah.
Okay.
And metal, so that it's not gonna fade like that.
Yeah. And you have that quote?
I do, I
Okay.
did
You
all
wanna-
around, but they seem to be the most, the Apache signs had a lot of great reviews, and they had
Yeah.
good prices as well.
You want to send me that quote?
Absolutely, I'll have her write it down. She didn't have time
Oh,
to do it.
okay, she didn't send it to you. It
But
was
she will
us.
certainly do that, and I'll
Okay.
forward it to you.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, you can look at that. I mean, I included in here, we're kind of discussing on purchasing, so, the budget. So, we'll review that, but I'm sure that shouldn't be a problem.
Further similar.
That would just come out of operational,
Right.
so.
Okay, so Matt, you can take that one.
Yep.
Okay. So discussion on the timeline for completing the apartment/terminal at the airport. I'd like to hear what Sherry has to say, but first, I thought I'd ask Matt, what's the status from the city's perspective?
Are we on 3?
We're on 3.
Okay, as soon as we, our airport property manager had, left the building, our, personnel, we've had employee personnel in there, we went in there, I went in there on the first day, and it was a complete mess. So they went in and cleared the whole thing out. We had a water leak that first day that we found out. They got that fixed, and they have cleaned the entire building out, have repainted the whole, I believe the whole building.
The inside, interior.
And they're replacing the FBO entry door. That door's been needing it even when I was out there. And so that's been replaced. And we're gonna be putting in a new oven, and we will be, I think he's already, or he's going to be replacing, some of the windows. The 2 windows that, there was one broken, there was one that was turned into a residential sliding one. Sorry, but anyways, those are getting replaced. I am going to be, putting in, having him get a quote, my, Victor, facilities guy, to replace all of the main windows. They're all single pane windows, and all the window, seal, everything, all the window seals and everything, right inside every window, there's just dust just piled up, because it comes right through. So,
Where's the budget coming from for this one?
That will be coming out of our building maintenance. It's not out of.
City.
It's the citywide building maintenance that I have, yes.
Can I distribute these? I don't know, Jim, you wanna distribute these? It's the same documents we have here. I thought, I wanted to talk about some budget items and things. Does the city have a tenant in mind?
Not at
Seems
this
like
one,
finished work even, no?
not at this one, no.
Who's in charge of finding somebody for that?
Myself.
Just you?
And I'll be, taking that as the city manager.
Are you looking for someone to work at the airport, or is it to house city workers, or what's the?
So it is it's a contract with the city is what it is.
How does that work?
So you live in that building, no rent, you don't pay utilities, pretty much you live there for free. In exchange, you keep up and manage the property grounds.
And you don't pay taxes on that either, I looked
No.
into it.
Yeah.
There is a carve out if you need to live in a place in order to perform the job. There is no income tax on that, so
Yeah.
it's got a piece of licensing.
Is there
Yeah.
a public requisition for this?
What's that?
A public requisition for the position?
I don't know if there has been in the past. In the last, since I've have worked here, there hasn't been. It's usually we seek out employees. That's usually a good way of going.
But that's what I mean, like, how are you seeking out the employee or future employee?
We'll put out something to our employees.
Oh, so it's to your, so it's actually housing a city employee.
That's benefit, I mean, it doesn't have to be a city employee, but the benefit of it, is also, housing, workforce housing. Is something that we, is another way the city manager and I look at it as well.
So I can see where it benefits the city, but benefiting the airport is my
Yeah, and
perspective.
benefiting, an individual as well.
Having the experience to be able to maintain an actual airport is different from, just general workforce in the city. So that's what I mean, is there like a public requisition for
Yes and no.
the roles and responsibilities to be able to do that?
Yeah, we have a contract. that-
Is there a job description?
Right.
There is.
Is there
We
a
have a
contract?
contract with the descriptions of everything that is expected by this individual.
Can we get a copy of that and weigh in on what we think
Yes.
about it before anything happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very possible. Yeah,
Okay,
not possible, but yes.
okay. Okay, and then Sharon, what are your
Right.
thoughts on the building and about it?
I actually put my hat in to take that position. It would be something that it would have to be reworked with the city because they have, I guess, in the past always brought an employee over there. But, I have a business background and saw the potential for the airport, and so, thought I'd see if I could get that job so that, because there's such a need to bring the airport back around to breathing life again. I know how to network and find people that are needed, and I know budgets, and so that's why I applied. We'll see what happens with that. Was there a specific question that you had?
Did you receive her application yet?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it was, I think I agree, because I think I was aware of really what we need down there. Not entirely, but I think I have like a 80% idea of the kind of employee, I would say, of the airport down there. And we see the skills that they need, the maintenance items that need to be done, like the beacon and, things like that. So somebody to orchestrate that at minimum, but ideally to do the work.
Yeah, usually
So-
the, airport property manager is the one that manages all that. Which that motor, that beacon has been replaced, the motor, I think 3 times now.
It sounds like it needs a good electrician that knows what they're doing.
We've had electricians out. We've rewired the whole thing all the way down before.
But it's,
I mean, the whole thing needs to be replaced, but those are, trying to remember how, I think they're, I wanna say, don't quote me exactly, around $20,000
but necessary for an airport.
for a beacon.
Yeah, but beacons are necessary for an airport.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a,
Yeah, and it has worked, it was working, even since Robin was in there in the last few months.
but it's kind of getting in. In its working condition.
Question. As of now.
Question for Matt.
We can't,
I can't question it?
no.
It's in-
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude.
No,
It's just part of the meeting
Well, I don't know.
requirements.
What's the learning?
All right, does anyone have anything to say about old business up here? Should we move on to new business? You guys okay with that?
It's just maintenance records.
Maintenance records
Right.
as, okay, as an item for the person who lives in the,
Right.
okay, all right. I think that,
In the logbook, just as you would with aircraft.
I think that brings us into new business. We have,
Okay.
and I'm not gonna name, I'm
So,
not gonna list these in any
Real
particular
quick,
order.
because I can't hear everything that's being said. What did you all say?
Oh, I said, to list maintenance records for whoever the next manager
Okay.
is. To keep a log of what exactly is being replaced or
That
repaired.
was being done until the last person was in there. It was very, very clear law. Yeah, so I think that is part of the management.
Yeah, should be.
Which leads
All of
us.
that is done electronically, on our software, work order software management.
Is it entered manually or is it automated?
No, it's me.
So if we were to audit the work orders done at the airport, is there a way to track, like location, pull up location airport, would it come up with these are the things done?
If it was put in,
Yeah. Okay,
the locations and whatnot.
yeah. Okay, so I think, let's move forward, and I'd actually like to start with number 4, because this is, I think, where you are, and that's discussion of creating a table of management roles and responsibilities necessary for continued safe airport operation, including budget and timelines that the airport sponsor must provide.
I think we have to start with number 1.
I think today, since, okay,
All
we'll
right.
start with the first number.
We'll, go ahead.
We can do that
We'll-
today. I was just trying to roll the conversation, but
Okay.
if, you know what, I'm gonna take you, let's start that. So, discussion on review the city of Bisbee's proposed budget for fiscal year 2024-25 to add necessary equipment and management staff and matching funds that the airport sponsor must provide. I distributed a printout, and actually I asked the city to provide the same document to us here. I apologize, I only have 5 of them printed at my house before coming over. But it does, if you flip through, it does have, I think it's unnumbered, so, 2, 3, page 4, we have airport budget. That was, this is on the city's website. And I just wanted to point out a couple things. You'll notice that the budget balances. However, if you look at the account description, you'll see transfers from general budget. And that's interesting because that's put under the revenue to the airport, which I suppose it could be. The city is donating these funds to the airport to keep it, I don't know, whatever state of repair it's in now. And you can see 2021 to 22, they put nearly $20,000 into it. Following year, $2,700. 2023 to 24 budget, about $10,000. And the same thing moving forward. So the budget does not balance if you're the city. In fact, the airport is costing the city money. So I would say that it's an unsustainable Unless it's sustainable, if we're gonna have the city continue to pay for the airport.
It's sustained, through the general fund, which this is in the general fund.
However, the revenue that you see coming in, or the revenues that you see coming in here, it's airport, property lease, airport access fees, rents, gas revenue, and then you see transfers from general fund. And in fact, that's a fairly large number compared to the other sources of revenue. Who's in charge of the gas revenue? Like, who's keeping track of, is it, they used to?
That's the finance department.
The finance, do they have a third-party vendor that provides the gas, like receipts? Do they get like automatic deposit and say, hey?
We have automatic invoicing, yes, through the device that's out in the airport.
Okay. If we look at the rest of the budget, where you go down, so that's revenue, and I just remember that this is not self-sustaining. We're using city money. If you move down to see what the bills are, I'm not buying some of these numbers, like tools, $0 in several years for tools, or $50 a year. I don't think that that's realistic. I don't see how, I don't know, the credit card fees, for example, being zero ever. So I don't know how you sell nearly $40,000 worth of gas and get zero credit card fees, but I don't know how it's set up either.
So,
Safety supplies are often zero. They're more often zero than they're any number at all. It's just custodial supplies, how do you have zero? So what I'm saying is that this budget, I don't believe it.
custodial supplies has
On the first year, 21, 22, custodial supplies,
$150.
zero.
And I'm not saying it's a giant issue, but I'm just saying that we're counting money that we're not earning on income, and we're not counting expenses that surely are being spent.
Well, if they were being spent, it would show it.
So did you really not spend any money at all on safety supplies for a full year?
What are you looking at? What year?
21,
Well,
22.
21, 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And those are
Nothing.
before I was airport manager.
Keep them uncoated.
Yeah.
And,
Might shut
and
down in the
at
summer.
the same time, the building, the FBO was in a lot, was not kept up previously, very much at all. And that's why I think there's hardly any. And, yeah, so that's why there was hardly any in the past.
Okay. I think, for me, and we can ask other people their opinion, but for me, I don't find this budget to be a credible guide. If I were running this, or if anybody were running this as a business, which it is, when you look at income and expenses in a way, it needs to balance. It's far from balancing. This doesn't look like a credible business plan, if you know what I'm saying.
This is not a, like, my other main departments, like wastewater, streets, and sanitation, they make their own money, and they make and use their own money. This does not, it's in the general fund, and it's always been.
So, but the net, so you're saying
It
it
always
loses money every
used-
year?
It has always used the general fund.
Are you saying that it loses money every year? Because that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Are you saying something
Yeah.
different? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's,
No, that's, yeah,
it's a
you're
weight,
correct.
it's a weight on the city. It's not a source of direct revenue, maybe indirect, we don't know, because that's hard to account for. Like, how much business does it bring to the city? We don't know, it's not in here. It's hard to count numbers like that.
Mhm.
But I don't think, is anyone keeping track of incoming planes, passengers? Do we have those numbers that could give us a clue as to the indirect?
What we have is the people that we lease to. In the open hangars and the closed hangars.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have anything else to ask about the budget?
it was a red flag to me too when I saw it in the newspaper. It didn't, the numbers didn't make a lot of sense to me either. It's something that I think that more time could be looked at this. I see an airport that does have potential to be an asset, more of an asset than this is showing here anyway. I know that there's possible businesses that could be down there. There are funds that I know that not all of the rent is being collected. The potential for more monies could be coming into the city if somebody was looking at the hangars as rental revenue.
Well, we do rent them.
I think that it could be looked at closer. So
I'm
that-
seeing airport property lease $0 for every dollar, for every year.
And
That's at least when we have rentals, rents.
Okay, what are you
I
renting,
understand
the
you have
hangars?
land.
Yeah, those are all
lease.
the hangars and the open, and the shade hangars.
Okay, and are those being collected?
Yeah,
It just rents.
yeah, there's 10,800.
One, two, such rents.
Yeah, I see that number, and it doesn't track inflation. And I'm not sure that tracks market. And you're just talking about the hangars and the shade structures. How are those monies collected from the shade structure? Does people mail in a check or what?
Mail and check, pay online, or not online, pay over the phone, come in.
Do they have a contract or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, they sign their contract when they come in, they get on the list. Sometimes we have waiting lists, and people come in and, yeah, okay.
I understand there's a land lease that the flight instructors have a contract, but they don't know.
Yes, that is gonna be going to city council soon. As soon as we get more updated prices for, other airports like ours, and cities, sizes, and I'll be taking that to city council.
I think we should take that discussion on the city code. I mean, I don't want to shirk my responsibilities. It says here, chapter 14, goes into definitions. It's article 14.1. No, it's not. Sorry, double-sided. No, it is. Okay, it says here, leases of city property at airport is listed under what the advisory commission shall advise the city council on. So I would think that we would be the first people to take a look at how to lease these properties out, what the rates would be.
You were on 14 point what?
Yeah, so it's on page 176, it's under B, it's B6 on 176.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes.
The Airport Advisory Commission, through the liaison, who hasn't been here, with the assistance of the city staff, and that's you, because you are here, advise the city council as necessary on, and then number 6, leases of city property at the airport. So I think we should weigh on what the rates should be and
Yeah,
maybe
that's
take
a good idea.
The contract.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It seems like it's been loosely managed, and I think that what we're getting at is that it would be good to tighten this
We
up.
also haven't had a commission for many years, so that's one thing, as far as, like, I'm talking specifically with, coming and bringing the lease, to the commission. It's also a train of thought on that, I'll have to bring. But yeah, that, you say that, yeah, that's a great idea,
Can you bring that to the next
absolutely.
meeting? And I think
Yeah, we'll have that.
while we're on that point, I think we should have meetings more frequently than 4 times a year, because we can't affect any change if we're doing 90 days between decisions.
We also talked to the mayor about that.
So the mayor's in charge, city council.
Yeah, mayor is,
Is the mayor of the
Both of
city
them.
council?
Both of them.
It's both or either,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
But we
All right.
would have working sessions, correct?
I think so. I would imagine.
yes.
Okay, so
In the meantime,
I'm
until
fine
we
with
get
that.
what we want
let's do that. So
before we leave the
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Can someone, can you remind us to set that date before we're done here? Okay. All right. There's one more point on this one. It's the matching funds that the airport sponsor must provide. And it goes into it on this document that some of y'all have. It talks about the responsibilities of an airport sponsor. And an airport sponsor, it's pretty much a commercial property out there at the airport. It makes money. Some of that money is spent. At the end of the day, you don't want to end up with less than zero. It needs to be, because it needs to be sustainable, it should not be dipping into the city budget to stay afloat. One of the things that we need is grant matching. So you go out and get grants, and we'll be discussing this a little bit more, but you have airport grant match. It's on the budget item. It's the second to the last line. 2021 to 2022, I see $32,000. I think, was that a taxiway redo or an airport runway?
That was the runway.
And that was in the state funded that, wasn't it?
Correct.
So is this $32,000 the matching funds for that project?
Yeah, we've got an ARPA fund through ADA Aeronautics.
And that year they hit the city budget pretty hard. Nearly $20,000 came out of the city budget. And when you look at it, that's where it is. I mean, it was the biggest part of that grant match. The following years, maybe more importantly, is that it's zero across the board. And I don't know what the preceding years were. I'm assuming those were zeros for a while, right?
For
The grant
yes.
match.
I mean,
It was zeros.
As far as I've known, and there hasn't been, since I've known, since we had we had federal funding, is what I would think, unless there's been other smaller ones like this, but I wouldn't know that.
If we were to magically get a grant this year or next year, we have 2024, 25 proposed. If we were to somehow qualify for a grant, where would that money come from? Because when I look at it, it's balanced perfectly. Every single dollar of it would come out of transfers from general fund. So we literally cannot afford to get a grant, right?
It would have to come out of the general fund.
Okay.
If we, yeah.
Okay.
And we do currently have one, we have the availability of one, another 32,000. This is from FAA. We doubled, send an email, are you sure they said, yes, normally you would not get stuff. But
Because
this
of
is
the through the
an
fence.
This is an ARPA, correct. But this is an ARPA grant, so.
What's that?
Different, American Rescue Plan Act,
Oh, okay.
still from COVID and stuff.
Oh, so that,
So-
is there a matching
Uh,
grant match required for that one?
That one, I don't think so. And we are looking to, we're sending them a quote to revitalize the fuel tank at the airport, $18,000, and we're sending that to verify that that's going to work. Because they have stringent, and it has to be certain things that they'll approve. So we're having that sent out to verify that that will work. And then if that does work and we have extra, some of the stuff we're doing in the FBO, we'll put onto that as well.
Okay, the FBO being that building that's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
residence, okay. I think from a pilot's perspective, that doesn't really qualify as much as an FBO because there are no services provided, right?
Yeah, just bathrooms and leisure, yeah.
Okay,
So I guess you're right, yeah.
yeah,
That wouldn't be.
Okay.
Is it open 24/7 or how does it
Yeah,
work?
yeah, it's open 24/7.
But there's no one manning?
No, there's a code to get it.
Yeah, there's the radio frequency code, is the code to get in the door. Yeah.
And then there's no one monitoring who's coming and going?
We have our airport property manager, but I mean, they're not there 24/7, so no. And there hasn't been for 20 years.
and that's not unusual for
Yeah.
airports to have facilities that are open for pilots to just come in and
Yeah.
figure out their flight plan, check the weather, check the internet, have a seat, take a break, have some air conditioning.
I'm thinking more about planes coming in and going, who's on those? Isn't it? Is anyone tracking that?
Yeah, is there, to be clear, no one's tracking how many planes are
No,
landing.
never have, no.
We could only surmise from the gas revenue sales,
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
looks
one way you could do it. Yeah.
fairly flat line across all these years. So
No,
if
I
we
meant
looked at
more-
gas price changes,
I meant individuals in the event.
oh, how many people are on board?
There is a
you know?
login, if they actually do it, there is a login that's in
The
the
the terminal is not real welcoming, so I can't imagine that many people are gonna go in and.
There are no signs
Most
for it,
people
are
wanna
there?
use the bathroom, so they do. When I was out there, we had a lot of people going in.
Yeah, I mean, you would know, you were there for a while.
Yeah, I
right?
was
How
there
long
for
were-
over a year, a little over a year.
Are there any signs for landing unfamiliar with the airport, pilots landing that say, hey, FBO that way, or bathrooms?
No.
It's on the gate, it used to be on the gate.
Yeah. Oh, when you're leaving, it says, by the way? Is that
But
way?
when you come in, when you
That
come
walking-
in from
that
the
walking
ramp,
gate?
if you park at the ramp, walk in the little gate that's on the north side of the building, used to be a sign right there, and it told what it was, and then there was a sign in front of it.
How long
Almost
was
every
that there?
airplane that stops, they go directly to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would hear it early in the morning.
I think I'm gonna put on for the next agenda, we need a sign.
Another sign.
Yeah, but that'll be on for the next meeting.
So, terminal, facilities, sign.
Like FBO, if it's an FBO, then we have, says FBO with an arrow.
It should say office, not FBO, because there is no FBO.
So,
Fixed
Office
base operator.
with
We
utilities.
do not have
Yeah.
a fixed
All right.
base operator.
Yeah, that's-
So you would call
Yeah.
Eric. If you want to say Eric Swisher is fixed base operator, then we do.
Yeah.
But no, we
Is
have
he,
an
could he
airport
be,
office.
has anyone approached Eric about being an FBO? He's already the one who's there most of the time providing services. If you get a flat tire, he's the guy you're gonna talk to.
yeah.
It's kind of like an impromptu service stuff.
Is it,
Yeah.
I mean, who else should we attract an FBO or look for one? Is that residence
You'll
really an
have to
FBO?
tell me a little bit more about that.
FBO?
Yeah.
It's certain requirements to become an FBO, that you have to meet with
Okay.
FAA.
So an FBO just is a fixed base operator, which, that doesn't tell you much, it sounds kind of, okay.
That almost sounds like a
It's-
property manager almost. and-
No,
but-
you're
It sounds
providing
like
a
it's more-
service,
Okay.
and
It's-
there's requirements to be an FBO,
Gotcha.
an official FBO for the FAA.
You can think
So-
of it as a concession stand that the city gives you the ability, or the airport property gives you the ability to operate. Here's your booth, and you sell whatever you want.
Just- An FBO will
Tires.
also provide like a vehicle for free if you
Oh, okay.
land and need to go to the city for
So we
anything.
kind of, we're almost,
So-
we have a vehicle
Which-
and a building.
It's where can you go get a cold Coke? Where
Uh-huh.
can you go ask a question? As you say, pick up a crew car, it's typically,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing.
It
It's
sounds
just,
like more like
So,
more like
we're not-
welcoming, I mean, a manager that's gonna be there, we do it all the time, but
Yeah.
have a sign, once again, in the terminal,
Mhm.
that lists that for people that come in, that there's no one there.
I think that's definitely something for the future.
But the
FBO.
You know,
I'll find out.
Yeah, I
how to
definitely
get
think
that.
that this
Okay.
would be, I mean, it wouldn't be, I don't know if that is what we're wanting, but even like a soda machine type stuff or something like that, snack machine. I don't know if we want something like that in there,
We can
but
make more money. Dang, dang.
That's-
depends on who's putting it in there.
So I'd actually like to move on to the taboo subject, and we'll skirt around it such that we don't offend the city attorney, because we don't want to.
Real quick, we talked about, making money. I do have, I might have mentioned it, it just hasn't gone out there yet. A tip box, that's a safe kind of double key deal that we are looking to put out there. We'll put it out by the, I'm guessing, I don't know, either inside or out by the fueling station, people, for day trips and whatnot, if they want to leave.
or you could even just put a barcode for a Venmo type of thing, so you're not really dealing with cash.
Yeah, finance department probably wouldn't want that. They're very particular. I mean, I think that would be a great idea myself. I mean,
So
I
an
want
honor
to do
system?
something with that, with others.
Yeah.
An honor system for transient parking, for example, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because there's no way of collecting money, because we don't have somebody out there. So that's something I thought of recently that we could
Like the Venmo
do.
thing where,
Yeah. It can become an official channel of revenue.
all right. Now, are we ready to move to the next item? We're gonna dance around the subject of the item is discussion on identifying an FAA point of contact for TTFA contract negotiations with adjacent landowners. Now, the reason, I think the contested aspect of this is for contract negotiations, which we cannot speak for the city, we're just an advisory capacity group here. I think we should be given that authority. That is something for the city council. So, can we, maybe we should take a little vote on whether we should put this forward to the city council.
Aye. No, I totally agree. I mean, our
Did-
list is getting,
Specifically to empower this group to
Commission.
the commission
to
to discuss this, and actually work on the contract and, you know, provide a go-between, I think, between the property owners and the city. Somebody, I think, needs to do this. It's been over 10 years that these haven't been done. We can do it.
And you'll also, with this, because I'm, gonna help you on that, want to be able to have access and ability to talk with, property owners, because now, that's not something that as a commission we can do. Now, I can't tell you what you can do on your private life, obviously, but as a commission, that's not something we can do.
I think we can, in a limited capacity. I think what we can do is provide guidance in the same way that we can for leases of the city property at the airport. This is,
I asked him about that, and
Yeah.
it was, no, we don't have the ability to do that.
the council is the arbiter of what we can and can't do,
Yes.
so we'll take this to the council. So,
Correct.
does everybody agree that we'll take this to the council?
Do you have a motion?
Yeah, do we have a motion to, go to the council and ask them if we can get authority to help iron out the TTFA contracts?
Yay.
second.
Yay, or,
Yay.
All in favor?
no, not quite. He may be recused, you're one of the property owners. Is that right?
I don't think I can vote on this.
I agree, he can't vote on this, but we have,
You have
Four.
4. You still have 4.
Okay. and,
All approved?
Aye. Yes.
yeah,
All right, so, real quick, just so I can write this down for the action agenda. Who motioned?
that would be Mark.
Okay, Mark. Second?
Sherry?
Okay, thank you. All right, proceed.
All
I
right.
had to think about it.
No, I think you're right.
I can't.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. That's discussion on confirming the working group of the Airport Advisory Commission with input from adjacent property owners can work directly with the FAA to provide through the fence agreements, contracts responsive to the requirements of both the FAA and those landowners with existing access. Sounds a lot like the last one.
City council.
So, okay, let's roll those together, and we already have an action. Everyone agree on that?
Yes.
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 Yeah,
Sounds good.
okay.
You'll be taking it, so that's fine with me.
All right, item number 3, discussion on creating a table of equipment necessary for continued safe airport operation, including estimated budget and timelines that the airport sponsor must provide. We're talking about the sponsor here is the future sponsor, the present sponsor.
Sponsors and city.
Right, indeed, the present sponsor. What we want to do here is we want to look forward, so this isn't, we're not limiting ourselves to the current financial capacity of the city, which is extremely limited. We're looking at if we were to have access to federal funds, if we had a TTFA, if the airport had a different sponsor, what are the things that that same airport would want in terms of equipment necessary? This isn't something that we need to do now, but we can certainly discuss how we would resolve to make that list of equipment. I would say an FBO that works as an FBO, for example.
That would be.
Because right now we have a house for city employees, and what an airport needs is an FBO.
With the
Or
airport
maintenance.
needs is a real
I think
manager.
maintenance, yeah.
With, you need a manager with a list of responsibilities, and then that FBO is something completely different.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
I think it's facilities is really, but the next point does address exactly what we're talking about now, is who does what. That's item number, it's listed as number 4. And that's a discussion on creating a table of management roles and responsibilities necessary for continued safe airport operation, including budget and timelines that the airport sponsor must provide. So I think if we were to look at this as, if the airport were to be run at its very best, what would that look like? What would the facilities look like? Who would be doing it? Right now, I think